Hey everybody, Nick Andreessen here. In today's video, we're going to cover when it makes the most sense to pay off your mortgage and when it doesn't. Imagine walking out the front door of your house, stepping onto the lawn, the fresh air hitting your face, the grass below your feet, knowing that this is all yours, free and clear. You've paid off your mortgage. What a feeling. You've made it. The American dream is complete. Now imagine walking out the front door of your house, stepping onto that lawn, that same fresh air hitting your face, and the same grass below your feet as you walk over to the taxi with your luggage, a trip paid for because you didn't pay off your mortgage. Because instead you left your money invested and the additional interest earned is paving the way for a family vacation. I get it. I don't want to have a mortgage either. It's hard grained into our bodies that having a mortgage can mean some banker will just stop by one day and take away our homes. But you are more free than you think you are. A mortgage is a contract, and unless you break the contract, your home is safe. But it sure feels good to be debt free. So what actually makes the most sense? Pay off your mortgage or not? I've been in the wealth management industry for over 19 years, and this is one of the most asked questions I get from people who come into my office. And it's a great question that everyone should ask. Today, we're going to cover both when it makes the most sense to pay off your mortgage and when it makes the most sense not to pay off your mortgage ahead of schedule. A quick clarification is that for the purpose of this video is we have to define paying off a mortgage. When we think about paying off a mortgage, we're thinking in terms of making a lump sum payment of $100,000 or $200,000 or more to pay off the mortgage. A lot of people pay an extra $50 or $100 to a payment, and this is not what we're talking about today. And I'm a fan of that in most cases. The reason being is that extra $50 is generally excess cash flow that otherwise would be spent on some non-essential shopping item or on takeout pizza and not taken out of an investment account. Let's talk about how interest rates play into our decision. Here is a graph of historical mortgage rates. As you can see, we're coming out of the best time in American history to be a borrower. Interest rates were at historically low levels. Now, many of us either obtained a mortgage or refinanced in the last 5 years, so your mortgage rate is likely at historical lows, 2 and 3%. This also means that your mortgages might extend 15 or 30 years from now. You could be 65 years old today who has a 30-year mortgage. A mortgage you might never pay off during your lifetime, but that might have to be paid off by your estate. The question is, should you pay off your 2 or 3% mortgage so you don't have this payment in retirement? If you pay off your mortgage, the benefits include fully owning your home with no contract contingencies and no more monthly payment. Sounds pretty good, right? Well, what if I told you in this case, you could be doing yourself a disservice? And that is because you have to ask yourself, where am I getting the money from to pay off my mortgage? This is what we call opportunity cost. As in, what else could this money be used for? Is it from an investment account of yours? Where even if you were in a balanced portfolio of, say, 60% stocks and 40% bonds, historical returns have been 6 to 7% annually over time. If this were the case, and let's say you have a mortgage rate of 3%, you'd take money that was making 6 or 7% to pay something that is charging you only 3%. Over a 30-year window, this difference between 7% and 3% is massive. If we were just comparing two investment accounts, one that earns 3% versus one that earns 7%, over a 30-year window, the difference is significant. Let's say you have $200,000 invested at 7%. Over a 30-year time period, your $200,000 turns into $1.5 million. At 3%, it turns into just over $544,000. That's almost $1 million difference. Now remember, this doesn't take cash flows into consideration like our mortgage discussion, but is to give you an idea of how interest rates can have a meaningful impact over many years. Now, Let's take a look at a hypothetical client so you can get an idea from a big picture standpoint how this decision can affect a real life scenario. Here we have Frank and Joanna Miller. Frank and Joanna refinanced their mortgage in January of 2020 for 3%. Their balance is $200,000. They have a decision to make. Take the money out of their joint account and pay off their mortgage, or keep their money invested and make monthly payments out of the account to pay the mortgage. Their investment account is earning 6.87% as it's invested in a balanced strategy. Again, there are no reassurances that they'll make this amount as it's based on historical results. Here, I have their plan projected out. Looks pretty good. Now let's look at if we take $200,000 out of the investment account and pay off their mortgage. As you can see in the chart, the opportunity cost of taking money out of the account earning 6.87% to pay off the mortgage at 3% adds up to over $358,000 over Frank and Joanna's projected lifetime. Now, the plan still looks pretty good, so they have to ask themselves the question, how badly do they want to get rid of the mortgage payment? This is where I talk about by keeping the mortgage payment, you get to keep the house, assuming you're making the payments, and you have additional wealth to be used in other goals like travel or gifting or giving, or on that golf membership or new boat. Even if you aren't investing in an investment account, CDs and high yield savings accounts are paying over 4.5% right now. If your mortgage interest rate is at 3%, you're still doing better by not paying off that mortgage and keeping the funds in the accounts that are paying interest. It's important to note that not only do most of us have mortgages with extremely low rates, the mortgage interest is deductible on your tax return if you itemize your deductions. You might have 3% rate that is fully tax deductible, making it more like 2% after tax benefits. And one more note, almost never does it make sense to take a lump sum out of your IRA that is invested in a balanced strategy to pay off a mortgage. In this situation, not only do you have the opportunity cost, but you have to pay taxes on the distribution amount. So when does it make sense to pay off your mortgage? It may make sense if you have a higher interest rate on your mortgage. If you miss the last 10-year window to refinance and you have a 6 or 7% mortgage, then it may make sense to pay off the lump sum. Also, if you have $50,000 or less on your mortgage and you just want to simplify your life, you can pay it off. The opportunity cost on this amount in real dollar terms may not be worth more than the total feeling of freedom you have when you pay off your mortgage and no longer have that monthly payment. And importantly, all of this is dependent on your individual circumstances. If you have a $100,000 mortgage but a net worth of $10 million, the relative impact on your overall finances is minimal. Do the math and determine what the trade-off is and if it's worth the cost. And if it's worth the cost, it's worth the cost. Let's recap. It might not make sense to pay off your mortgage early via lump sum payment if you're heading into retirement or in retirement, and 1, you have an interest rate of 4% or below, and 2, the funds you would use come from an investment account, and especially if they come from an IRA or 401k. It might make sense to pay off your mortgage early in the event that 1, you have a higher interest rate, and 2, you have a smaller amount remaining in the loan, say $50,000 or less. And 3, you are risk adverse and otherwise have your money sitting in cash, not earning anything. Now, I know for most who want to pay off their mortgage, it's about freedom and it's about not making the mortgage payment or having that mortgage payment, freeing up cash flow. But remember, if you pay off your mortgage, you may not have the mortgage payment, which is great, but you lose the liquidity of the amount you just paid off. Let's say you have $200,000 mortgage and $200,000 in a high yield savings account. Sure, you might have the payment, but you always have the ability to pay off the mortgage when you want. If you pay off the full mortgage, your payment goes away, but so does your $200,000 of liquidity. So your monthly cash flow may feel like it's in a better position, but your wealth may actually not be, and it's actually potentially more risky. Again, depending on your other assets and your personal situation. As with all financial decisions, you have to look at the big picture. And determining whether or not to pay off your mortgage is dependent on your individual circumstances, including the mortgage amount, the rate, the time remaining on the mortgage, in addition to your comfort with market risks, feelings of debt, and overall net worth. If you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you want future videos about financial planning, tax strategies, estate planning, retirement income, or investments, please subscribe to our channel. In the meantime, I wish you the best on your retirement journey. Hi everyone, Nick Andreessen here again with Oakleaf Financial Group. If you want to learn a little bit more about us, you can go to our website, www.oakleaffg.com. The clients we work with typically come to us because they're afraid of running out of money in retirement. They feel they're paying too much in taxes. They want to improve their investment performance, and they want to make sure their family is taken care of should something happen to them. And we work with them to design the strategies in pursuit of these goals. But at the end of the day, what they're really looking for is a feeling of confidence in their retirement, a sense of security, where they're not worrying about changing laws and tax rates or the economy, or at least not so much. So they can focus on spending time with family and playing with grandchildren. So they can play golf or go fishing without having to keep an eye on the stock market. They don't have to worry that they're making poor financial decisions. This is the true power of wealth planning. If this describes you, I hope to hear from you because you deserve to have a confident retirement too. One final note, these videos are for informational purposes only. They're not meant to be financial or investment advice. Please work with your financial professional, legal team, or CPA prior to implementing any of the strategies discussed on these videos. Until next time, I wish you the best on your retirement journey.